welcome to another lecture of the course Aquaculture. Today, we are going to discuss the topic role of aquaculture in food supply. So far, in previous lectures, if you can recall, we have discussed about the introductory part of aquaculture. What is aquaculture? What group of organisms are being raised in aquaculture? Then, what are different kind of aquaculture systems? And we also discussed about aquaculture status, that how capture and aquaculture production are faring comparatively. And we also discussed about how inland aquaculture is contributing, how mariculture is contributing, and to the total world fish production. How capture fisheries has shown stagnation. We also discussed many other things related to especially the countries ranking in aquaculture production as well as capture fisheries production. Then we also discussed about prospects of aquaculture, that what are the prospects for the aquaculture to further grow. Now, today we are going to focus on role of aquaculture in food supply. Before going into details of role of aquaculture in food supply, I think we must understand first, do we really have food problem? What is the uh, you know status of food supply? And in we are living in 21st century, we have shown enormous development in different spheres of human life. We have progressed so much that we are going to space on vacation now. We are launching many programs on moon, and there are many things. Then artificial intelligence development and many technological developments in there are, we are having uh, very technologically living in a very technologically advanced time. So in such a time, do we really have hungry people? We need to understand the magnitude of food supply and how human population is having access to food or supply of food or other things. So we can understand it in a way like I just checked the current world population, that is approximately 8.2 billion people are there as of October 23, 2024. And then if you go through further details, that how many of the total world population are really having some problem in food supply. In fact, you will be surprised to know that maybe around 9% of the total population uh, that has faced hunger in 2023. And that 9%, about approximately 9%, that translates to about 713 and 757 million tons. You can say more than 7.5 or approximately 7.6 million tons. That's huge. We know that 1 million equals 10 lakhs. So that is concerning. Now, among different nations across the globe, if you compare the status of hunger, that how many countries are showing um, having population which is facing hunger, Africa, percentage wise, Africa remains on top. That about approximately 20.4% of African population is facing hunger or has faced hunger in 2023, compared to many other like 8.1% in for Asia, 6.2 in Latin America and Caribbean, and 7.3 in Oceania. Now, if you look at the second point in the slide, here you will find that although Africa is having the largest percentage of population facing hunger, but Asia houses more than half of the more than half of all those facing hunger in the world. That is about 385 million people. So some of you may not find it easy to understand that how this is possible. Percentage 20%. If 20% of hungry people are there in Africa, then how come more than 50% are there in Asia? In fact, more than 20% in terms of percentage are there in Africa, hungry people. But in Asia, it's not percentage, but number-wise, about 50%. You can understand it in this way that, say, for example, that there are two regions, A and region B. Region A, suppose I'm referring here to, say, for example, Asia. Region A is having denser population, and here the total population is, say, for example, 10 lakhs. And the population which is facing hunger in the region A, which is having denser population, is only 8% of its total. 8% of the total. That will be 80,000. Now, if you compare it with the region B, in region B, for example, since it is not densely populated, say the total population is only 1 lakh. Just to let you understand. And here, as we have seen in the first point of the slide, that about 20%, approximately 20% of its population, of the total population, faces hunger. So 20% of 1 lakh will be 20,000. So although region B is having more percentage of people of its total population facing hunger, but the number wise it is only 20,000 of the total population. Whereas in region B, although only 8% of the total population of that region faces hunger, but it comes out to be relatively more, that is 80,000, which is relatively much higher number. So that way we have to understand. Then we can also see that how world population growth rate is there. In fact, if we are saying that, okay, even now, if there are many people who are suffering from hunger, then how population growth is faring? Human population growth rate, if you will see only growth rate here in this diagram, then growth rate is declining. It is showing continuous decline for a long time. Continuous decline. Although growth rate is continuously declining, that means the pace of growth rate is showing declining trend, but it is still increasing in number. The increase is not that with that pace, but there is still increase in number. This you can understand by another example. I can let you understand that, say, for example, one region is having population of 1 lakh. Say, for example, in 2000, in the year 2000. Then in 2001, the population increased to, say, for example, 1.35 lakhs or 1,35,000. So what has been the increase percentage wise? So percent increase will be 35%. This is just to let you understand. In 2002, say there were some measures taken and the growth rate declined, but still from 1,35,000, the population became 150,000. Number wise, there was increase in number, but what will be the percentage? Now the difference you will have to take 1,50,000 minus 1,35,000. So the difference will be 15,000 numbers, and percentage will be only 10%. So this is the thing which is shown here, that the pace of growth has declined, but not the numbers. Numbers are still increasing. And here I have given you example of only 1 lakh, and we know that we are dealing with billions in terms of total world population. Almost the same story goes for global hunger, rise in global hunger. In fact, if you see the trend, then you will get to know that number of undernourished people that has been shown on the upper line, and prevalence of undernourishment from the orange line, which is shown on the lower side. Here you can see that from the year 2005, they have shown the global hunger was declining. Very good declining trend was noticed until, you can say, until here. That is 2014 or so. Then after that, although the data was fluctuating, but showing an increasing trend. But after 2019, here there is increase in global hunger, and it is still increasing, although with a relatively slower pace after 2022, but it is still increasing, showing increasing trend. That is concerning. Now, there has been, the problem with food supply is not only that more people are there, and maybe we are not having enough food items, but there are many other factors like food prices. We all know that food prices have, increased across the globe, and that has left many people. For example, in 2022, according to a report, approximately 2.83 billion people were unable to afford healthy diet. That is the point to be concerned about. Then this is because if you go commodity wise, that how the prices have increased, then in many of the important essential commodities which are part of a staple diet of human beings, that has increased very sharply. For example, if you go for cereals, there was 60% increase, for dairy products 45%, meat by 19%, and very sharply for oils by remarkably 125%. That is something which is going to affect the dietary choice and healthy diet of many of the world population in many parts of the world. So these are the products that I have just talked about. Now, the point is that whether we have food security, so far whatever we have discussed, that it seems that we do not have food security to all, and whether it is possible for us to make people food secure. According to FAO, food security will be when people at all times get access to, have physical and economic access to, in simpler words, I should put it like to nutritionally balanced healthy diet, and in order to lead active and healthy life. What are different dimensions which are required in food security? That the food should be available in abundance. The available food should be accessible to all at all times. That is again one very important thing. Then the whatever available food is there, that should be utilized rationally and completely, so that to reduce the food wastage. Then there should be stability, not only in food availability, but also in accessibility. So if all this are taken care of, then food security can be ensured. Now, there are many challenges of food security. Hunger, we have already talked about. Malnutrition. Malnutrition, when we are referring, malnutrition doesn't only mean undernutrition. Malnutrition when we are not having nutritionally balanced diet. When quite often in many parts of the world, the dietary pattern, or you can say the dietary preferences are such that they do not consume nutritionally balanced diet, so they have a lot of problems that continue to occur. Um, if even if somebody is obese, that can also be considered as malnourished. So malnutrition is one of the very important issues, and hunger and malnutrition, we all know that all these, they affect the poorest population most. And there are many, significant impact on the uh, country's economy and global economy at large. Now, what are different measures of food insecurity that has been developed? In fact, FAO's measures, if you see, that they have very clearly described that if there is uncertainty the ability to obtain food, regarding the ability to obtain food, then it can be said that there is mild food insecurity, food security to mild food insecurity category. If there are compromises on food quality and variety, if food quality and variety are compromised, or if quantity is reduced, the abundance of food items are reduced, and sometimes one need to skip meals, then it may be called as moderate food security. And there are many cases where we see that there is either no food or they have to skip meals for a day or more, then it may be called as severe food insecurity. That is something very concerning. One more global hunger index scale is there, which we often see um, in order to judge the performance of a country with respect to uh, food security. Global hunger index, if global hunger index is equal to or less than 9.9, then it is considered as low global hunger index. If it goes beyond 10 but less than 20, then it is moderate global hunger index. If it increases from 20 but below 35, then it is known as serious global hunger index. And this serious condition our country is also facing. Our country, India, is having serious global hunger index. Then if global hunger index values goes beyond 35 but less than 50, that is alarming situation with regard to global hunger index. And if it is equal to or more than 50, then of course we can say extremely alarming. There are a lot of work has been done, and there are many organizations, international organizations, and organizations at national level, which are working in order to overcome this problem. And there has been success stories. There has been progress in rather made by some countries, like here they are mentioned: Bangladesh, Mozambique, Nepal, Somalia. They have shown progress, but not, challenges still remain. That has not been removed, but in some cases, there are in 22 countries, for example, they have moderate, serious, or alarming 2024 GHI scores. Hunger has increased since 2016. Then in many countries, what happens that almost any effort in order to any measure in order to minimize the or improvise the global hunger index, that becomes problematic because the processes are stalled because of many socio-political or economic or whatever reasons. So that is challenging situation to all of us, so that we can improvise global hunger index of all the countries. Now, how GHI was calculated and how the agencies calculate GHI? In fact, there are four major parameters: undernourishment, child stunting, child wasting, child mortality. We get scores for these parameters, and then we get total GHI score. And again, the same scale that we have discussed in the previous slide. We develop GHI scores based on that. Now, if you have a look on top 5 countries that have low hunger index ratings, it was surprising to many of us. You may have some other country's name in your mind, but here what you see, you are seeing, Belarus, then Bosnia, Herzegovina, and then you see Chile, you see then China, you see Costa Rica. Here the hunger index is less than 5. There are top 5 countries that have low hunger index ratings. So if the countries are making good efforts, they can lower the hunger. At least people are not hungry. So, and especially the case of China is worth to mention. In 2000, they are having huge population, we all know. So feeding such a huge population, not keeping them hungry is a big challenge. In 2000, the index was 13.4 and now it is less than 5. In fact, since 2016 only, it is less than 5. That is amazing. So, and top 5 countries which have alarming ratings, that we can understand that because of many problems related to these regions. Maybe again, I should say socio-political or economic or whatever reasons, these countries, they fare very low in the ratings. India's rating surprisingly is 105 in global hunger index, and we are currently at 27.3. That means we are in the serious category. But one good thing, one good message I would like to take from here with regard to our country, that since 2000, when global hunger index was 38.4, we are showing continuous decline. 35.2 in 2008, then 29.3 in 2016, and now 27.3. Although the pace is not that much, but we are decreasing in the, in the values, and in other words, we can say we are improvising or improving in global hunger index scores. Maybe a few years later, we may come out of that serious category. But if we come out of serious category, even then we will be in first we will come in the next category, that is low hunger. To reach to the low hunger is quite a big challenge, because just after serious category there is moderate category, and then we come to low category. So, and here also you can see that entire country India has been shown as serious. So if we improve on from serious, then we will have to come to moderate, then low GHI score comes. Then what are challenges, different challenges to food security? Many of the factors, many of the aspects we have touched are in fact, despite hunger and malnutrition, we have poverty, and we have India's position surprisingly in poverty also. We are having at 62nd. We can 62nd. We can improve upon this also, and we have the potential to improve maybe very soon, if we can expect. Lack of food production, then lack of nutritional balance or getting nutritionally balanced diet. Now, if in the light of the discussions that we had so far, the problems, the challenges that we are having with regard to food supply and food security, what are the solutions? What are the options? In fact, we have 3 major food production systems that we are having: agriculture, animal husbandry, and aquaculture. They have the potential to feed the world population, but their challenges we have discussed in our previous lecture also. And here also we can just see that, okay, if agriculture and animal husbandry, they require land for many, for their growth, their progress, their diversification. Aquaculture, since requires water, and we have huge water bodies which are still untapped, unutilized, or if they are utilized, they are not fully exploited, they are underexploited. So we can go for aquaculture to have this. Now here I have tried to give you in a summary form that why aquaculture is more beneficial than the land-based farming systems. This we have discussed in detail earlier in other lectures. So here this is very informative for you, that In terms of use of land, aquaculture utilizes water bodies, minimizing the need of extensive land. In fact, uh, since aquaculture has to be done in water, we we um, we may utilize the already existing aquatic resources, or we don't need additional land for this purpose. Or comparatively, even if you are getting some pond constructed on land, even then the requirement of land compared to land-based food production systems is much less in aquaculture. Then comes food conversion ratio, FCR, what we call. That means FCR refers to that how much food you have given to the organism and how much biomass you have got. Aquaculture is very efficient in terms of FCR. Aquaculture, in fact, what happens that we have discussed it earlier also, that aquaculture may produce, say for example, if you are feeding 2 kilograms of food, then you can get 2 kilograms of flesh. Or 2 kilograms of food, then you can get at least 1 kilogram of flesh. But in case of cattle and all, if you are feeding them 4 to 5 kilograms of food, then you will get 1 kilogram of biomass. And stocking density, if you call, and one more thing I would like to add on FCR, that why they are very efficient, they show very efficient utilization of fishes, because fishes are poikilotherms or cold-blooded. We know there are two type of organisms with regard to temperature. One is cold-blooded or poikilothermic category, and another is homeothermic or warm-blooded category. Fishes come under poikilotherms. Now, what does this mean? That these organisms, fishes, they do not need to spend their energy on maintaining the body temperature. Their body temperature can adjust according to the ambient temperature, of course within a certain range. But in case of mammals, what happens? They need to maintain their body temperature to a point, and to maintain the body temperature, they need to spend more and more energy for this purpose, for thermoregulation. So the energy which was saved in not maintaining the body temperature, the fishes utilize that additional energy which is spared for their growth. So ultimately, they utilize food more efficiently. What appears to us, that they have utilized food more efficiently in converting more biomass. So that is how we get more biomass in case of aquaculture, compared more biomass per unit area in case of aquaculture compared to land-based animal farming systems. Then in aquaculture, stocking density wise, in aquaculture we can stock more, we can put more number of fishes per unit area compared to cattle. So by looking at all this, it seems that aquaculture may be economically more efficient and viable compared to other land-based systems. Now, it also has the potential, aquaculture has the potential to combat malnutrition. There is one reason that I have taken it on a separate slide, because whenever we talk of malnutrition, we have seen the magnitude of hunger and malnutrition, how it has affected the global population, human population. When malnutrition becomes very serious, when it is protein malnutrition, and mostly it is protein malnutrition, when we see the conditions are very severe, very serious. And if protein malnutrition is there, then the impact of that malnutrition, that has its impact on entire life of the person. So in order to deal with the protein malnutrition, uh, aquaculture has the potential to provide quality protein. We know that we have already discussed that the protein um, present or provided by the fish, that has excellent essential amino acid profile, and we can get fishes even at cheaper price. There are many fishes which are sold at cheaper price There are many fishes which are very abundantly available. So it depends on how we can, produce more and manage in such a way that every type of fish or other aquatic organisms are utilized and at affordable price to each section of the society. So what we can do, we can include fish more frequently in our diet and encourage aquaculture. It's not only that you are going to do aquaculture, then you have to do it on large scale. No, you can go for very small scale aquaculture, and that will provide not only money or income or employment to some people, but that will generate food also, that will produce food also. And that way you can have food and you can have you know income also. So a very popular Chinese proverb that very appropriately tells about that if you are just providing fish or providing the product that somebody needs, it will be of help only that time, and next time that person will be looking again for that kind of help. But if you teach the skills of the process, then that person can be independent and have a very good life. Give a man a fish, he will eat only once. Teach him fish culture, he will eat throughout his life.